happy new year and entrance into the more less egoic part of the Aries sun entrance. I know that that was hard for everybody, but thank you for being less war-like than the next Aries person, or just ignorant person. Yeah. So anyway, there is something I can do here to make money. mm. So I am so one of the main things I like to say right now to begin the year off as a, I am a warrior, and my boss is the truth and or God, according to what little my aperture that I'm inhabiting now enables me to pick up on here. And so, having said that, I'm very grateful for what little I understand right now and what's happening here with this orange. Really good that I'm able to eat this, and there's another one. It's a prayer, uplift when you're grateful and you're thankful and you're expressing, I'm just grateful for the knowledge that can be contained within us, mainly for my breath, the breath that has been coming in. It needs to come in. I haven't been doing yoga, and I will. I'm looking right now. I'm just busy. I'm trying to get adopted. I'm pretty sure I can get adopted over Facebook. There's at least 45 million people that they can all give a half a cent, and then I would be well taken care of. And not that I'm trying to just slouch over. I mean, really, there's a lot of work I need to do, and I can't do it without a cent of money. And it's the same with all of humanity. Humanity needs to adjust around and give themselves, space and time to to relax and to, well, what can I do? It's usually really good, believe it or not. When people are not worried about money and going down the rabbit hole, it's best to try and solve that problem. And if you ask me, social media is an obviously here to answer that. And money was here to answer some kind of problem too. And to me, I mean, I hate to say it, I'm not biased or anything, but it keeps pointing at women. There's also the English alphabet, where when you start deciphering, you can point, well, a lot sticks up, but it always includes men, like in the word women. Men is in it. And in the word men is me. And so in women, too. So don't worry about me exists, the ego thing, me-go. So the language here is really just the math, the symbology, just to calm you down. You're not, there is order to be had, and that's somehow that we're bringing order to chaos, to tell you the truth. And what's my point to this video? Well, it's a good point. The order to chaos, because it's kind of like the beginning. That's where we are. It's like the creation time. It's like Happy New Year. It's the end of destruction. Not really. We are planning on. This is just April 3rd, and Mars is going to be conjuncting Saturn in the sky, and there's going to be an event, April 5th, some kind of electronic announcement through the electronics. It's going to be about electricity or some electronic event, which is always right. You always get an announcement through the TV set. It's going to be major though. It's going to be fucking major because not only is Saturn squaring Mars on April 5th, it's also setting off a T-square with the nodes. It's the new cycle. Pardon me while I have an orange stuck in my tooth. Anyway, it's a new cycle of the eclipse season that is brand new for man, that makes us think about and move how to make our resources make sense. How do we make sense of ourselves and be resourceful at the same time, just to get the basics in, really, because when I say the basics, I'm saying because Taurus is involved, and Uranus right now it's also Uranus vibration. Had to deal with that, and it's still in the sky, very unpredictable scene, and it's going to keep approaching, that it's going to light up, and it's going to be just this unpredictable scene. It's good. It's the chaos thing we can create from the pure creation that is chaos. You should learn how to do it. It's not just the government's job to say, well, let's not let them in on it, but this is the way we, reset things, and they do it to a design that is like, excuse me, a lot of people are fearing it. You know what I mean? And I do too. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it's the complaint I'm having. It's like, well, I'm resourceful, but there's no place to put me. And perhaps the government will say, well, man, you're worth this much. How much? Because I'll tell you how much I'm worth. I don't like that. It's weird. You're gonna play that game? That's what you're playing, that game with everything? That's collapse time, whatever system that is. Whoever collapses it, women. It's just, and that's where they're saying, don't have so many children. That's kind of the undercurrent of the new world order, is just like, well, we can manage this better if you guys didn't reproduce out of control. Which is like, yes, but no. There's a balance to be had. You can get educated and figure out, why the fuck do you even reproduce? How does it? How did that happen? Let's zero in on that, and the quality of communications behind that, because that happens to be what reproduces itself as an intelligence. So I hope this conversation was at all helpful. It's just a new time for everybody. The new year, Aries moon, and now the middle degree of Aries is just, now you're going to feel to go out there and get out there and do it. And so everybody should. And it's a celebration. That's all it is. The I am. Let yourself move. You feel better moving and just doing it rather than thinking about it. Not really time to think. You've had time to think about it for the last, if not year and a half or 2 years. I mean, this is literally for everybody that forecast the astrological experience. at the same time, there's that creation at your fingertips, and it's really actually easy because some things have just been set out, and you're like, oh, I just go down this path. Boom. Well, guess what? There's also the other astrologers on the earth that are like, okay, it's time to announce they're going to move on with the financial system manipulation. Um, Come April 5th, there's going to be some kind of thing that happens that's very restricting, because they will announce it. It's a very convenient thing to get it going on the social mainstream media outlets and tell everybody and create the effect on, I think it's going to be the electronics, because how else are they going to do it? And a lot of it's just 99.9% psychological. I'm so glad I have a supply of toilet paper right now, you know what I mean? Because this is the best selling paperback when there's an emergency. It's all about the ultimate truth right there. Everything you need to know is right there, off the shelves whenever there's an emergency, because everything you need to know, that's the ultimate truth written, sold everywhere, paperback. Just sometimes they're more dire to read it than others, and it's just that's hypocritical. Anyway, back to, I could see it as an astrologer. Mars hitting, and then I noticed the nodes. That has everything to do with humanity's destiny. And right now it has to do with wake up about your money and your resources and where all of that's going. I mean, what is really worth what, and what is generating where what, and really it's just about the human energy. Human energy, what is that? Well, God, you can just talk forever, but because if you can boil it down and just get to the simple equation of it, which you can, um, then that's like half of the battle right there in your mind, you're psychologically. And if you're in any kind of position, here comes some ads, then you can start communicating, and not only to radiate to other people to help them click into like the possibility mathematically, but to also build a foundation solid enough to start reaching what matters, especially through the electronics, which is the higher up communications. They're just sitting and waiting. They've given us time to figure out social media and everything else, and the masks on is just like game over. You're losing your truth and your awareness and your game awareness. Game over. You have to remain. That's a sign that those people are not player ones. Your player one is leaving. And yeah, it's time to figure out how to cha-ching. Put some change, get some change in there. When you start speaking the language that's already there about everything, they've just pointed at everything and say, this is how you do it. Produce change. For what? For us all. Through where? Social media. You have to. You have to. So, and they have something right on the money right now that says, "In God we trust," and nobody knows what that is. What's God? Fucking the Satanic Society, who's been reamed inside and out. You can't tell them that God matters or that love matters. And when you start talking about, well, can you associate it with feeling good and joy? Not really, because there's a satanically programmed society who feels their feel good is an upside down and backwards thing, and it's very illusory. It's not really a feel good. It's a temporary. It doesn't satisfy the soul. It satisfies the mind's desires to be like, yeah, this is happening, right? Based on what? Rewards. What's that? The money. You got the money, you can afford to do it. Do what? They've made sure that money is paying for crap. be just, oh, you just luxury, you know. I noticed that with PC, where it's like, wait a minute, this is not even following along the lines of the human brain's mainframe and its ability to understand. That's how everybody was able to click into computerization, because it was getting more and more easier, because it is moving along, that they're really moving along the neurology of the mind and how it's interacting with reality. I'm not kidding. How it's actually forming, and then they go off and you have advertisements, and then you have so many different weird shit happening. It's like, that's just a waste of time. Thank you very much. It's like, I'll come back in 10 years to see what happens with how they, you know, turn it into just like this neurological. It's still a neurological experience, but you know, they might not let anybody like me in, because I could rewire it. You know, the idea is to speed up human evolution, to gain your intellectual property as a human organism, not just, yes, I built a brick wall today. Yeah, whatever. There's a bigger thing you belong to, and I'm talking about outer space and the universe and how it all works and all creation. And you don't have to build a brick wall. There's some way that we've built structures because we could resonate with the truth more as human beings, and lost all that. And um, rumor has it we're trying to get it back, but the war is like, well, we're losing it. And you can see it at the same time. We are losing our environment and anything to know about outer space and extraterrestrials. You know, there's a lot of talk about aliens, but those aren't extraterrestrials. This is a long video. Perhaps I'll splice it up. Have a beautiful day. It's a new day. The problem with the narcissist is they don't know how to let people live, and they don't know that people are going through transformation. They don't know how to transform and change themselves. They're hanging on desperately to some ideas in their heads, and that's just the inability to change. It's their memory and the past and who they are, and it's very confusing with that. And right, you know, it's just like, well, more letting go of people that you would probably try. You know, it's just you were in the primordial waters there, and now we're trying to look at the sun, and it's like, were you really there or not? I bet you anything. In the meantime, the government's going to start putting a shroud over everybody, because when people start moving and getting into a brighter light, or realizing that it's just realization, period, just realization is going on, the government wants you to realize something on top of that. You know what I mean? They know darn well, and so they can set off an H bomb somewhere and really get a and um, it's safer and it's better and it's more logical that it would be through the mainframe of our communications. Our I like to call it, it's the mainframe of the human brain. Whether you knew it, liked it or not, you're on it now, and it's been a slow just dragging it and really screwing with human IQ and intellectual property, and how all of that stuff starts to shift around and create a value system or whatever. But the main thing is how it's a disservice to the IQ levels that were already there, in an expansion of just like, well, Dr. So-and-so knows the truth about that over there, just and the cure. But no, just block them out. And it's always going towards just like one vibrational advertisement. It's like, hello, Germany.